What's going on, fellas? This is Mike D, Mr. Double Down on You, with another episode of Black Fathers Now. And literally, I got an episode and I got a really eclectic, and I call this brother a Renaissance man. He's like a legit Renaissance man. I got my frat brother, Rosai's in the building. 50.
Come on,
Come on, 50. The brother,
Mighty
50.
Rosai.
The mighty Rosai's in the building, representing. We got my man, Jason Ridgel. Now, Jason is a father of 3. He's an entrepreneur. He's a creator, and he's a creator of Guidance Whiskeys. And I'll tell you, Guidance Whiskey is one of the things, but the brother's also working on a project with alkaline water called Hydrate the Hood, which really is going to change your perspectives on hydration and understanding proper hydration. And again, he's also got a story that got some twists and turns and all of that. And we're just here to share it because we want this brother's story to be highlighted, and I want y'all to understand who is the man behind Guidance Whiskey. So without further ado, fellas and ladies listening to, because y'all tune into what we're talking about, let's welcome my frat brother, Jason Ridgel. What's up, brother?
What's going on, man? Thank you so much for having me, bro. I really appreciate it. I love what you're doing.
Man, I appreciate you for coming on and taking time, man. And, you know, before we jump into this, man, we got to give a shout out because I literally heard about your story in a group that the bros had going on. It's called Oil Spill. It's like a group that we have on Facebook, and somebody was talking and they posted a story and they said, no more Crown. The bros got a liquor company. I was like, no more Crown. First I said, no more Crown. I'm like, hold up. But then when I clicked on the link and went down your story and looked at this article, I was like, man, this brother's got a story. And on top of that, he's a Black father. So we had to get you on here. So again, I appreciate you for coming on, bro.
Hey, let's get it. Let's get it. Now, for those that listen, you know, before we get started, we always have the guests give shout outs because again, the tagline of Black Fathers Now is bringing the village to the brothers. Who are we without our village? So let me give you a few moments, man, to give a shout out to your village, brother. Yeah, I appreciate that, man. And it's Guidance is a part of that, right? Like that's the honoring those that came before us, you know, the people that reached out, the people that kind of bridge build for us along the way. And my number one bridge build at the top of the list is got to be my mama. I gotta start with her because she held the vision for me in a lot of things when I was ready to give up. So shout outs have to go start to her first. I give a shout out then to my wonderful kids, my 2 sons and my daughter. The bros have been so supportive, man. The bros have been, I mean, it reminds you of why you got into the frat. Mm-hmm. When you see it, because you saw, even what you mentioned, right? When you saw an article that came across and the bros like, no more Crown. Mm-hmm. This is what we're gonna do. That's how we are. So shout out to the bros all over the world that's been supporting and the ones that's about to start supporting after they see this right here. Mm-hmm. And then, man, a shout out to you. Mm-hmm. Shout out to you for having a platform for fathers. I mean, we've gotten a lot of podcast offers since, of course, since the article came. A lot of people want to sit down, they want to talk, but nothing has been about one of the most important things, right? Which is being a parent, which is being a father. So I definitely applaud you for taking that on and for giving me a chance and opportunity to talk about that.
Man, I appreciate you, man. Like literally, that's what this thing is all about, man. It's, you know, it's about showing us as Black men in positive lights and sharing our stories from our perspectives because, you know, the title of this podcast is called Black Fathers Now. So we're bringing the village to the brothers, but we're also bringing insight, inspiration, and wisdom that the brothers can take and apply to their life right now. There's a part of your journey, a part of your story that brothers listening can say, I can connect with that aspect of Jason's story, and I'm going to apply that to my life, and that's going to allow me to be a better man and a better father. So thank you for sharing, brother.
Yeah.
Word. And so when we gave the shout outs, you started off with mama. And so when you mentioned mama always relates back to the beginning because that's how you got here. Talk to us a little bit about your origin story, man, like how you came into existence from the standpoint of like your inspirations and life experiences, which ultimately led to you getting to a point in which you're actually creating your own spirit line. So talk to us, brother.
Oh, yeah, it's good. It's good. So I was actually born in Queens, New York. A lot of people don't know that. In Jamaica, right? But I was raised in Auburn, Alabama. All right. But I'm a Alabama fan. My mama went to Alabama. So a lot of people say you grew up in Auburn. They wrote no War Eagle here. All Roll Tide. Let's be clear. But growing up in that small town, man, I was the only child. And Auburn is kind of, I mean, it's grown now, but it's a country. It was a country, small town. It's a university city. But once you leave that 6-7 miles of the inner city, like you out in the country, in the sticks and stuff. And so I always dreamed about seeing the world. That was really something I used to do. So every movie I used to watch, everything I saw on TV, I used to act it out. I would watch tennis on TV, and then I'd be outside in the tennis ball up against my grandma's wall. I watch the World Series and then go outside and throw a ball up on the roof because we had them slanted roofs.
Yeah.
Let it come off, and I would act like I'm doing a dive and catch. And that's how I spent a lot of my days. And shout out to my grandparents, man, for just letting me do that. You know, I wanted to be my first thing I ever remember wanting to be was an archaeologist.
Wow.
Right? An archaeologist.
Really? From Auburn, Alabama?
Auburn, Alabama. I'm going to go out in the world and find some stuff.
I love it.
And I went in my back. The first place I went to go find some stuff was my grandma's backyard, and I dug it all up, and that whooping I'll always remember. You know? That was good.
Look, how you go from being an archaeologist to that whooping I'll always remember? So, okay, back to the story.
I wasn't no archaeologist after that.
They beat that inspiration out of you.
Out of you. You digging up your grandma's yard? Oh yeah, them flowers.
Oh boy. Oh.
But outside of that, you know, they always encouraged me. I always say, like, we didn't have a lot of money. Like, it wasn't that, but my family was always there for support. So if I'm kicking a can across the street, my grandma gonna be on the other side with a kick the can t-shirt on.
Wow.
Like, that's the level of support. So I grew up thinking that there was nothing I couldn't do.
Ooh.
And that's something, and I learned that in the home. Now, they won't do it for you, but they won't hinder you. And that I mean, I grew up like that. So it's only right, you know, Tennessee State University grad, tried my hand at corporate for a year and a half, year two, and I would look out at a window that looked out over the city in downtown Nashville. The company that I worked for was one of the top 5 accounting firms in the world, and it was a big window that overlooked all of Nashville. And every day I could stand in there and look out and see it was beautiful, right? Beautiful office, real oak stuff, you know, all of that. And I'll never forget this. I was standing at that window looking at it, wishing I could jump out of it because I wanted to be with the people that were outside.
Ooh.
So good job, you know, working for an accounting firm, all that stuff, soup to work kind of stuff. And I wanted to be with the people that were walking up and down the street. So I had to figure out what were they doing that they were allowed to be out there while I'm up in here. And that began that entrepreneurship in me, man. And that's, ever since that day, I've been figuring ways out to actually work for me and with others.
Dude, can I tell you, what's like when you mentioned the whole concept of, I used to act it out. So the concept of imagination, right? Like from the jump, imagination was always there. You always had this opportunity, and I'll tell you, when it comes to imagination, when I watch my kids who are almost 7 and they're 9 now, you know, it's all imagination. Everything is dressing up in costumes. It's pretending this, pretending that. But what I'll tell you that's so powerful about what you just mentioned, you talked about imagination, but then you also talked about the concept of support, right? You said whether I'm kicking a can down the road or not, my grandma's on the side of the road cheering me on to kick that can down the road. So imagination and support together gives you this level of, I can do anything. Anything. Because check this out, what we end up doing as, you know, and I notice this with myself, and I'm getting myself out of that mindset, but kids imagine anything, and kids see the possibilities of every little thing as a possibility.
we get to a point in our adult life in which we start to see limits and we start to try to think rationally. It's like, you can be I want to be an astronaut. You're like, okay, baby, that sounds good until you start going, why don't you just be an engineer? Because that's practical.
Hey, and that's how I ended up in engineering school.
Wow.
I went to TSU on an engineering scholarship, and it was really that part. I didn't even know what an engineer was, and I can't believe I'm saying this on.
It's real, dude. Can I tell you how funny that is? I went to Georgia Tech, right? So I graduated from Georgia Tech. I went to Georgia Tech. I started off with majoring in mechanical engineering to get my pre-med prerequisites. I started off, right? You hear I say started off.
Oh, I heard.
Yeah, and the reason I chose mechanical engineering was because I got all A's in physics my senior year in high school. So I was like, I got all A's in physics. I'm pretty smart. Okay. And they said engineering school. I might as well major in engineering. I got into Georgia Tech. Okay, bet. I got there. Okay, I got an F in Calc 1. I had to take Calc 1 3 times. Then I had to take Calc 2 twice. I ended up, I failed inorganic chemistry. It was because it was one of those things where I just chose something that sounded good, but it was really not the core of who I was.
Yes, that's exactly. I mean, look, I just noticed, after archaeologist, it was lawyer because I was watching Matlock.
There it is.
That. And I remember being 16 years old, and I don't even know why I said engineer. Somebody asked me one day, what you want to be? I said engineer, and I went off of the reaction that they gave me, which was, that's nice. Oh, that's good. And I think a lot of times we do that, right? We throw stuff out, you get a good reaction, you go on with that. Now think about it. That one thing directed the next 6 years of my life. Just the fact that I got a good reaction when I said something, because I didn't want to say, I don't know.
Dude, can I tell you something that was crazy? I interviewed a brother not too long ago, and one of the things that he talked about, he had a shirt on, and his shirt said, "Don't allow the opportunity to define the objective."
Ooh.
Man, that thing spoke to my soul. It said, don't allow the opportunity to define the objective. It should be the other way around, because the objective is internally derived. That's your focus. That's your passion. That's what you're supposed to be doing. But a lot of times we see an opportunity and we just say, "Ooh, I see that over there. Okay, now I'm going to reshape my direction into that." Versus being internally focused and realizing what you're supposed to be doing, your objective, and focus on that thing, and then allowing these opportunities to come to that.
Walking in your purpose, man. And that's the stuff I teach my boys. Like that's my oldest just turned 19. My youngest boy will be 16 in November. And then I have a 5-month-old daughter. And with my sons, I told them, I said, look, there's only a few things I'm responsible for teaching you before you can leave my house, right? And it is, what are you going to do to take care of yourself? You have to be able to take care. I want you to firmly know that before you go on your own. What are you going to do to take care of yourself? What are you going to do to take care of your family one day? You understand? Hey, they got mamas. We love mama. What you going to do? Take care of your mama down the road. And then what are you going to do to be an active member of society? What are you going to give back? And they didn't have to have the answer to it 3 years ago when we started. But I said, my job is to help you flush that out. Because if you know how to take care of you understand? Because there's going to be some days when mom and daddy ain't going to be there. There's going to be some days when grandmama and other grandmama, it's going to be some days when you're going to have to dig in on your own. And I need to make sure that you can do that. What are you going to be able to, you know what I'm saying? And then even so, what are you going to do to take care of your family? And when they hear family, they always think, oh, if I get another child, if I get a child or if I have a son or a daughter, then I would take care of my family, my wife. I'm like, no, we family. For men, it's not something you can do. It don't snap on for you when you turn 25 or when you make it or when you get there. We start doing this now. So how you going to take care of me? How you going to honor me? How you going to honor your mama, your grandmama, all these people? Now that needs to be on your mind. And that's one of our focuses, man. And it's been a journey to watch them start to navigate those things for themselves.
That's a powerful concept, man. It's like, and it takes me to two things. First, it takes me to, I think it was Damon Dash was talking about, I hustle for my last name, not my first name, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's the first. The second thing that it takes me to, by just you having that conversation, it takes me to that scene. To me, it's the most powerful scene from the movie Black Panther. It was when T'Challa was in the forest and the ghost of his father came back. And he was crying. He was in tears. And he said, "Father, why did you leave me?" And his dad said,
"A father that don't prepare a son for his death."
Yes, that's it. It's deep. He said, "If I have not prepared you for my own death, then I have failed you as a father." And I was just like, and right now, even I got chills up my spine just thinking about it now, because when we think about the concept of parenting, the concept of being a man, being a black man, being a black father, at the end of it all with our children, that in essence is what we're doing. Because truthfully, with our kids, I did an episode and I came to the conclusion that our kids in essence are a 20-year long-term lease. Think about it. If you really think about parenting, right? Yeah. You got 20 years, give or take a couple years, depending on the circumstances. You roughly have 20 years as a long-term lease to raise your kids. And at that point, you're pretty much a consultant or an advisor.
Yeah. Because they're not checking with you no more.
No, they're not.
Sometimes they'll dip in and dip out. Mm-hmm. And the crazy thing is, a lot of us, well, I don't know everybody's story, but for me, I started out young. Mm-hmm. I had my oldest son when I was still in college. Mm. So remember, started out engineering, right? Mm-hmm. Didn't finish as an engineer. So I'm figuring me out. Mm. And now I have a son at 21 years old.
Wow.
Okay, so this journey, like my oldest boys, like they've been through everything with me. Mm. They didn't have the luxury of having all-knowing, all-seeing 41-year-old Jason that's wise and been through stuff. They had the dude that was still figuring it out.
Okay, it is.
Okay? So now my daughter, she's 5 months, and she's going to get the benefits of all the bumps and bruises, right? Mm-hmm. But the boys, we had to wing it. We had to wing it. And that's why I feel such an obligation to make sure that they're prepared. Because I know that I wasn't.
But you know what's interesting, man? It's like it's the concept, when you think about it, preparing and getting our kids in a position that's better than we were in, it in essence is giving them a level of privilege, right? Because they don't necessarily have to face the same headwinds that we face, right? But there's a counterbalance to it. Because, when you've interviewed, like I interviewed a brother about 6 months ago, and he grew up in a privileged situation, right? And he said he didn't, he's a brother, and he was like, dude, I didn't even realize I was privileged until I went to public school. Like, he was just like, so everybody's parents aren't in the links, and everybody's parents aren't in fraternities, and everybody doesn't go to Jack and Jill events, and he didn't know that he was in essence like Carlton from the Fresh Prince. Right. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, that brings its own set of challenges. And I think for some of us that are striving for success and striving to put our kids in positions of, in essence, some level of privilege based on, compared to maybe how we came up, it is a challenge that I think we have to kind of contend with, because we want them to have that level of grit so that they have that thing inside of them to drive them going forward.
How often does that come up in these interviews? Because some of me and the bros was talking, some of me and my friends, and we were really trying to figure it out, because we were like, man, our kids aren't like us. Mm-hmm. In the sense of, we worked really hard to make sure that they never saw anything that we saw or that we had to go through. But in some of that, it made us who we are. Mm-hmm. So how do you balance it?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I don't think for the first years we even thought about that, because we were on such a better, we got to do better, got to get better. So my sons played football, soccer, they've been in swimming, they've been in, speak French, they do, I mean, you name it, if it's a program, if it's some stuff, and it's we pushed them into all of that stuff. And some of it, I was like, man, and one day it popped up for me, I was like, is this for them? Mm-hmm.
That's a part that we have to be mindful of are we living vicariously through our kids, or is it a scenario in which we're just trying to give them more opportunities? And I think the opportunity is a balance. I think the opportunities are good, but we have to also present those opportunities and figure out a way for them to find that level of grit inside of them. So their grit might not be because financially there's a struggle, or their grit might not be because, they didn't get to go here and get to do there. Their grit might be, maybe because my dad's a successful entrepreneur that created all these brands and all of that. How am I going to follow in that footstep? You think about like Michael Jordan's kids. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what are the things that they have to, they got every opportunity in the world. And it's just like, am I trying to live up to my dad? Am I trying to do something else? Do I not want to ride on his coattails and I want to feel like I'm doing something that I did? I mean, it's a lot of struggles that come into play, but we have to find those things that are the struggle that tap into that so that they can still have a level of grit, because without that grit, they don't have that push to go and optimize who they are.
Why do you think we did that? I mean, why do you think that a majority of us, when we started having kids, we became soccer parents, we became, everything we could think of, we put our kids into, we spent our money, we put them in ballet, we put them in every, and here was the disconnect for me. Like, some of the stuff we didn't even like doing ourselves. It's not, so I wonder sometimes, did we get caught up copying other cultures?
It's deep. That's deep.
See what I'm saying? Like, we're copying other cultures, but we won't even get the same thing from it because it's not our culture. We didn't put our daughters into learning African dance. That's not where we started. We started with ballet.
That's, man, I think honestly, man, it's an awareness thing, right? You don't know what you don't know. And, I use a concept at times that exposure leads to opportunity, right? Yes. And so it's like when you know better, you do better. And so to your point, it's like when we do understand that, ballet is not the only form of dance, maybe they can do African dance so they can learn, some history here, or we don't just have to go on vacation to Europe. Maybe we can go to Ghana. Maybe we can take them to South Africa. Maybe we can, it's like
you can go to Haiti.
You can go to Haiti. Yes. To Jamaica. You can do, yes.
So, but I always wonder that, because I thought I had that thought. I was like, where do we get the desire to do all of this? And, we really didn't. We put them out there, we make them do it, and then we take on some type of pride in saying that our kids are doing these things that we don't even understand, and that we can't even give the kids the history on it. We just giving them, it's like we've grown up. Go outside and play.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you, man, that is a very deep perspective. And I think that's something that we all have to reckon with, and we all have to really challenge ourselves on. It's the why. Like, we do things, but we need to start asking why. It's like we can just do and just stay busy, like in this, in that, do this, do that. But why? And I think if we can't answer the question why, we probably need to pause for a second and think about, why is it that I want them to learn this language instead of that language? Yes. Go to this place, and why?
Come on now.
Yeah, why is it? Or are we choosing this school? Why do we have it the Ivy Leagues versus HBCUs? Or why do we? I mean, literally. I mean, I think we have to really, and I think we're in a place in life in which we have afforded ourselves the opportunity to ask why.
Yeah, we should. We have to, because I run into that a lot, even when we talk about brand creation, right? Like, so. There's a large number of people that now they've seen some Black-owned brands. There's way more than you've ever seen, though. Like, that's the thing. It's almost like if you see one or two, you got to know that there's 10 or 11. You just ain't heard about them, and they're hard to search out. They're hard to search out. If you go on right now and just Google Black-owned spirits, you're only gonna see a few, and you're gonna see the same ones over and over again. When I did the interview with Travel Noir, I asked the lady that interviewed me, like, have you interviewed other Black-owned brands? And she said, yeah, a lot of them. I said, would you send me those people's contacts? And they bring, because I want to send something out to them, because we don't know them. And the list she sent me was like, I ain't never heard of this stuff.
Wow.
But it exists.
Can I tell you what was powerful about that, man? It's
And you really are opening up and sharing a little bit of your spirit in the sense of, you know, it's Tupac that said, it ain't no fun if the homies can't have none. Right.
Right.
So you're looking, it's like, you don't just want to be, I'm the only one here. How do we bring all of these people along? And I'm going to tell you how the rubber hits the road and how I'm even like, wow, when I was just going through your social media feed, I saw you giving a shout out to a black bourbon company on one of some post or whatever you made.
Yeah.
And again, that's, you see what I'm saying? It's just like, so that is what you are. That's who you are. It's like, it's not about just me succeeding. You're going to succeed regardless, but the spirit of making sure others can succeed as well is so important, especially with us.
Yeah, that's how we last. And that's been one of the toughest things in coming into this industry, because we built, you know, we are proud people and we built on competition. You know what I mean? So that's just who we are. You got Auburn, Alabama. You know what I'm saying? You have New York, LA. You got this chapter, that chapter. You got the best FD ever, and then, you know, everybody else. But we're in that. And so I'm trying to strip that away for this, because we got to hold hands in this.
Yes.
Right? I'm stronger when I'm standing around. If I'm standing around 20 to 30 other Black-owned brands, minority-owned brands, then we can start to get my favorite words, market share.
Ooh,
market share. But if they do us, if they able to do us like they did, you know, the music industry back in the day, if they can come and get me and tell me, you know, Ralph, you need a solo album, or guidance is better than this brand and this and that. If we can start doing that, then yeah, they can just pick us off. They can buy us. They can own us again, because that's one of the things. Ownership has been a word that has been on it's been a hot word for I don't know how many years, but you hear it all the time. Ownership, own. And so when I help these other brands, the first questions that I get in interviews, because I mentioned Timeless Vodka, I mentioned Twisted Sisters Wine, I mentioned these other brands that we've helped, you know, get out. And the first thing people want to say is, well, do you own that? Do you own a piece of that? Do you own a piece of that?
Wow.
And my answer is no. I said, that's for them to own. That's their legacy. They're going to pass that down to their children. I don't want to own their companies. Now, can I invest? Yes. Can we make money together? Yes. Because when you're talking about ownership, really, they just want to know if you're getting paid off of it. That's the real question.
That's it. That's the dog whistle. They're like, so are you getting paid to say this? And you know what I'm gonna tell you, dude? That's that goes back to when we talk about us. Right? It takes a village to raise a child. There's this collective village mentality. And that goes back to who we were prior to the institution of slavery and all of that. We operated within the village. It was more of a communal type thought process. And it's kind of a hybrid in the sense of, you know, in our society, you know, our society in the West does value ownership. It values land ownership. It values business ownership. So you got to understand how to play ball with that. But that does not mean you disconnect from the root of, hey, I'm trying to collectively help everybody win. And there's enough out there for all of us to win at the same doggone time.
Yes. You walk in the liquor store right now, hundreds, thousands of different bottles. Thousands right there. 1% of them are owned by minority.
And you're not even talking about just black. You say minority. Wow.
Yeah. To strengthen it.
Wow.
to strengthen it. So yeah, when I stand up, I open the door and I'm gonna because there's a lot of things that I've gone through we launched in October of 18, and there's just a lot of things in this industry, like any industry, that I've had to go through that I don't want anybody else to go through that come behind me. And so how do I do that? I'll be the first to raise my hand to say, hey, I'll help you. I'll give you the game, because you still have to have grit. You still have to have a plan. You still have to work it. Guidance is on a 5-year plan. And I'm glad I get a chance to say that. Just for people who are watching this, it's on a 5-year plan. We will probably turn a profit next year. Let me say that again. We'll probably turn a profit next year, which will put us in business for over 2 years. This is not get rich quick. So when you decide to come into this industry, that ain't it's not for the glitz and the glamour. It's because we need to be in this space. It's because I had something to say in the liquid form.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because I'm occupying a space for the people who coming behind me. That's the goal, that's the mission, and that's what we're doing.
Dude, I mean, that's a perfect segue into the whole concept of guidance whiskey. How did that thing come about? Where did that idea specifically come from? And talk to us a little bit about it, brother.
I mean, that imagination thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So found myself as an entrepreneur. I was living in California, and I actually, and I say this all the time if people would laugh, I wanted to do a sake first. I wanted to be in the spirits game. But I'm like, how can I come in here? I'm an envelope pusher, bro size that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this the envelope is here, I'm drop kicking it across. Because remember, through support and through imagination, there's nothing I can't do.
Absolutely.
So, okay, let's enter the industry, but I want to do a sake.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how do I do that? I ended up reaching out to a friend of mine, Stacy Diltz Thomas, who went to high school with me and college, but she was a wine broker at the time. And at that time, also, she was one of the I don't want to mess up the name of what they call it, but more or less, she knew about sake. She's one of the only Black women in the United States, well, at that time, that had studied sake and had relationships with sake. So she bad, bad. And so I reached out to her, and she was like, "Oh, I'm so excited." She started going into everything about it, and I'm listening. Okay, we're gonna have to go to Japan and the rice field, and I was like, "Okay." She sent me about 30 different sakes to try, and I tried them, and I just didn't like it. It wasn't something I could drink every day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hard day, walk in the house. I ain't gonna be like, "Hey, babe, pour me some sake up."
Mm-hmm.
It just didn't. It didn't fit.
It didn't flow. Yeah, it didn't groove at all.
It didn't flow for me at that time, and so I'm like, "What do you do? Like, do you push through and that word, gimmick it out, because that's a story, right? First Black owned, that's
absolutely.
But I just couldn't do it, and so we went back to the drawing board. And at that time, I had decided to move back to Nashville, and she was saying, "Jay, like Nashville, whiskeys are popping. They're trying to change the laws on what can be a Tennessee whiskey." I mean, she was giving me the game, and I was like, you know what? If they trying to do legislation about something, it's important. That means somebody getting paid off of it.
Mm-hmm.
So she helped me find a contract distillery that will work with me, and that's another thing too. When people are talking about whiskeys, do you own your own distiller? We do not. We contracted a distiller to make our juice for me, but we had to find somebody that would let us play with the recipe. And that's a lot of them. Like, a lot of them have their own recipes they've been doing. You can come in and white label it. You can definitely do that. But I had got tired of lying about liking extra strong anything.
Wow.
When your boy hit 40, dog, that thing,
it's starting to burn a little bit, don't it?
It's starting to burn. and nobody want to tell the truth about the burn, but I'm going to tell the truth. I'm still with somebody. I don't care if it costs $95 a shot. I'm taking the shot, and I'm looking at them. We drinking scotch. We drinking 30-year-old this and that, and I'm sitting there like,
man,
oh yeah, that's good.
I'm lying. That thing burned.
I'm lying. It burned. It hurt. I don't enjoy this. So I was thinking, and so that we needed a smooth finish. I still like flavor. I love flavor. And when you taste guidance, you're gonna taste the flavor, right? But it's the funniest thing when people want to talk about guidance to me, right? Like, we go and we have to do these tastings, we have to do these showings and stuff, and they start with the questions. Where's it from? What's all this stuff? And I always say, look, I'll answer any question you got after we drink it. And they like, okay. And they drink it. And when they do, what happens is that kills 85% of them dumb questions they was going to ask me.
Stop. Pause right there. When you taste it, that kills 80% of the questions that you may have. 85, probably even 90 to 95, because what's interesting, and I think that can translate into society in regards to misunderstanding, Black culture, or misunderstanding us as Black men, or society looking at us differently. The reason why there's the misunderstanding The reason why they're questions is because the vast majority have not tasted.
Go ahead.
Dude,
Taste and see.
Ooh, Lord. I love it. I love it.
That's because then now it's a good whiskey, man. It's a good whiskey. Even if you don't like whiskey, because we couldn't put out a BS product. Like we couldn't. Like I don't have the type of friends that will say that will go and spend $50 if it's nasty. Like,
no, come on.
They'll be like, man, we love you, bro.
But that ain't happening. That ain't happening. Yeah. I'll tell somebody else to buy it, but I ain't buying it no more. Yeah.
But I ain't buying it. I don't know who got. I mean, maybe people got them type of friends. I got a lot of friends. You know, they'll tell you good job, but they ain't gonna go spend that check.
That's it. That's
so
real.
We couldn't put out a bad product. We put out something that we're proud of, that we enjoy. Nothing is for everyone.
Absolutely.
See what I mean? But we didn't create it for everyone. Our motto is, if you don't drink it, we will.
Ooh, look, mo for us.
Mo for us, because that's what we drink.
That's it.
We enjoy it. So it puts us in a position, man, just to, like, when we're talking to people, once they've tasted it, then the questions change from the what you thought you needed to ask, and now it's a sincere question. Oh, wait a minute, man, what am I tasting? Oh, really? Like,
I taste these notes and all this. Yeah.
Your adventure starts right then, and now you realize you standing in front of the people that put it out. That's a rare opportunity. We don't get the chance to stand in front of Jack. You always get a chance to, or Crown. I couldn't even tell you who owned Crown.
Wow.
I could tell you own a lot of Crown Royal bags, though.
Now, us. Look, I got some change in one right now.
You did? So look, hey, one of the things that is that creativeness, right? I told my team, I was like, look, we need a guidance bag. We need a guidance bag. We need a velvet guidance bag. They were like, really? Like the Crown bag? I was like, no, like the guidance bag.
There it is.
But I was like, we got to put it in the bag. So we working on that now. I don't know if we'll like sell it like that, but I might just give away 500 bags. Man, so you can put your change in it.
We can rep guidance.
You know what I'm saying? You got to have something to put your change in, your cards.
Yeah.
Going to the, but we doing stuff like that, man. And that's the enjoyable. It allows me to still imagine, because I'll tell you, man, in this entrepreneurial thing, like I along this way, I did lose some of that imagination, right? Like I really did start to behave in the corporate manner that I had worked so hard to stay away from, because people were telling me that's what you need to do.
Ooh.
Now,
what allowed you to kind of pivot and get back to the imaginative thinking? What was the thing that allowed you to do
that? Her name is Luna, and she's 5 months old.
Oh, dig it!
And I'm telling you, to see the wonderment in her eyes at things, right? We walk outside, and just to see the way that she's looking up at the trees, and these things are like it's she taking it all in. She'll see a squirrel running, and she'll be laser focused on it because she's taking in stuff that she's never taken in before. And somewhere along this journey with her, it just watching her, it also made me want to, be that, experience that kid like curiosity again. And then also, being even more transparent, like therapy, man. Therapy.
That's real.
Like there was one of the things that we went over in therapy, and it was talking about integrity. Talking about integrity as being a theme of your life. And the definition that he gave me to work through was integrity is being accountable to your own greatness. And I said it to myself like a couple of times, like being accountable to my own greatness. I have a responsibility to the purpose that's been put on my life. And every day that I shy away from it, or I decline the interview, or I'm gonna stay in the back, or I send somebody else to do something that I know I need to be, every time. And that has started to happen, right? Because you get so beat up with the rigmarole and the struggle. It's like, because this isn't easy. So you get beat up so much, you start just like, I'm gonna sit back for a minute. But that's not integrity, man. That's not me being accountable to what God has put me here to do. So I gotta stand up.
Man, bruh, I'm gonna tell you, like, you know, when I start this thing off, I say I'm Mr. Double Down on You, Mike Dorsey. And Double Down on You is a performance and personal development protocol that I put together. And the whole concept is helping individuals develop the courage and the confidence to double down on who they authentically are. And the goal is to embrace your greatness while pursuing your interest, recognizing your faults and failures, yet guarding yourself against your personal triggers. Greatness, interest, faults and failures and triggers. GIFT is about unwrapping your gift. And so,
that's beautiful.
Yeah. And so what you just mentioned there literally is so in line with how I think. And it's so in line with when the brothers that I've interviewed and guys that I've interviewed that are high performers that are doing things, that's what it is. They're walking in their purpose. They're embracing their greatness while embracing their greatness while pursuing their interests. That point in which your greatness and your interests intersect, you have zero limit. It's like a limitless tree there, right? Like it's just growing. And but you're also recognizing faults and failures and then guarding yourself against your triggers, because we know our triggers are the thing that allow us to derail ourselves from our greatness.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Come on now. Like, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. And I don't hear much purpose talk anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Do you?
Mm-hmm. But honestly, you don't hear it. But the thing is, that's what we're supposed to be doing.
And
right?
that's what we long for. Right? That's what you long for. That's that feeling. That's the thing you want to be doing. You wake up like, because eventually going back and forth, doing whatever. Like I moved back to Nashville, man. At one point in time, I was getting up, driving to the office. I go to lunch. I would do 2 or 3 calls a day, 2 or 3 meetings a day, and then I drive home. I watch CNN. You know what I'm saying? Like it, and that went on for weeks before I was like, this can't. I was meant for more than this.
Yes.
I was meant for more than this. And where did I get away from that purpose? And I hear a lot about hustling. Definitely hear a lot about money and stacking. And I hear a ton about that. But like I was telling my boys, I was, you know, they're like, man, guidance is popping. You about to get that cheese now. And I told them, I said, man, look, I'm 41. I dedicated the first half of my life to getting it. I sleepless nights, travel all the time, away from my family. You know what I mean? I dedicated to that. So I will not dedicate one more day to money, to something that if I look at it, it means nothing to me. My picture ain't even on it.
Ooh, bruh, that's deep. That's deep.
Somebody that I know. How I'm going to give the next 40, 60 years to chasing that? Now I will, but at the same token, you never tell a young hustler not to get money because they gotta. You can't stand in the way of them getting what they think they need. So I rush them to it because the faster they get it, the faster they'll see that it ain't nothing. Or that is not nothing, but that is not everything.
Man, it's a tool. Like, and that the moment that you recognize that. A stack of money is kind of like the neighbor that got every tool in his garage. He could build a house from scratch, right?
Yeah.
It's a tool. It's something that you can utilize to do things. So you don't love money. You love what it can do for people. You love what it can do for your family, what it can do for others. But it's not the money. You don't chase that. You figure out ways to make things happen. And money is just the byproduct or just the vehicle to allow that to happen.
Yeah. And we somehow... people have lost years of their lives going after something that they can't even take with them. And that while they're going after it, guess what they're not doing? They're not teaching their heirs what to do with it. So really, you have just given it to someone else's kids.
Think about this.
Yeah.
Think about it. What you're just saying is so important. And especially if you substitute money and you use a hammer or a screwdriver or a chainsaw. Okay, what if you just give your kid a hammer, a chainsaw, a screwdriver, and some other tools and say, hey man, you got every tool in the world now. Go out to the shed, you got everything you need. And he's gonna be like, what am I supposed to do with that? You ain't never showed me how to use it.
Even more so if you do that and you die. If you leave them the chainsaw and stuff and then you leave this earth, they're not gonna know what to do with it.
You know what they're gonna do? They're gonna have a garage sale and just put a for sale sign to the highest bidder. Look, give me your best offer. It's
And
gone.
so all your hard work away from your family and your heirs has really gone into the pockets of the next generation of people who get it from your people.
Ooh, Lord, man. Bro,
That's the setup.
Bro, dude, I'm going to tell you, we can literally go into this for hours, but I want to be mindful of your time because I know you said you got a hard stop in a few minutes. Tell us a little bit about your Hydrate the Hood, your alkaline water.
Hood.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, give us a snippet on that.
Okay, so Hydrate the Hood is an initiative that is going into underserved communities and teaching them about the benefits of alkaline water and hydration. Okay. But it's also teaching them about nutrition.
Okay.
I usually, I love this show, man. I love what you're doing. So I usually don't give out my big plan because I do stuff in layers, right?
Okay, got you. I got
you. But I'm gonna get this to you. So here's the deal. All right. So most underserved communities are a part of a food desert, right? There's not a way for people to even go and get the healthy food that they need. And if they do, when they finally get to it, the prices are ridiculous. Mm-hmm. All right. So, but a lot of people, when they attack nutrition with people, they come in and they tell you a lot of things, but they never adjust the cravings of the body. Mm. So our cup, we use a cup. It's a pH 9 generator. It's $40, and it's the first cup to alkalize water without a filter. Mm. All right. So the cup is organic. It's made out of corn husk. It's coated with the minerals that alkalize water. People always want to know, like, how do we do it? Cool. The technology comes from a guy in Sweden who was approached with an alkaline water system for his house and asked the people, okay, like you said, I agree with it. I think alkaline water is great. Why does it cost so much to put this system in my house? Mm-hmm. Why is this $3,000? Mm-hmm. They gave him some rigmarole, and he said, nah, I'm cool. And he went and created his own. And that's why he made the cup $40. It lasts 2 years.
Wow.
I got a hold of the technology about 5 years ago out in LA. And at that point in time, gym people were using it. Everybody out there was using it. When I moved back to the South, we started trying to get it, do the same thing, educate people about it. Hey, you can come get this cup. It lasts you 2 years. You can use your tap water, all this stuff. We were met with a bunch of resistance, man. And it was really from our people. Mm. And so it was tough on me because I'm like, man, because we don't understand it yet, does that mean that we still don't need it? Ooh. So I had to figure out a way, to still get it to our people. So what we did is we came up with Hydrate the Hood. We decided for every cup that was bought, we would then donate one to our people. Mm. Right? And we won't just donate it, like leave it at a community center or something like that. We're going to go door to door in the projects, and we're going to knock on the doors, and we're going to give it to you, and we're going to explain it to you then. And so we partnered here in Nashville with Gideon's Army, and they're a boots on the ground organization. They have first responders when there's violence. They help with our kids in school. They help actually change the laws in Tennessee as far as kids getting kicked out of school for violent things and stuff. So, but they're there. Mm. So we linked with them, and we went into Napier projects here. We went into Dodge City here, and we've given out about 1,000 cups. We gave some to the law enforcement. We gave some to TSU football team because we need our people to be healthy. How does that happen? When your body is, when it's balanced, it can a lot of times fight off most anything. Mm. If it's balanced, right? If you're healthy, a healthier body fights off all kinds of viruses and disease on its own. Most of the things we put into our body are acidic. Mm. So drinking alkaline water helps balance your body. Is the cup the only way to do it? Of course not. You can eat an alkaline diet if you want to. Mm-hmm. But we start with the water. That's the most thing that we consume. So here's the big play.
Wow.
If we get people healthy, and if you go to our website, hydratethehood.com, you can actually see testimonials of people who their skin is cleared up. Mm. Their diabetes is going away. Their high blood pressure is gone down. And they want to say, wow, it's the cup. We're like, no, it's your body that's doing the work. You just helped your body. Mm. You just helped your body be healthy.
Wow.
And think about this now. In 2 to 3 years, we take Napier projects here in Nashville. 2 to 3 years, we've given a cup to everyone in that area. If diabetes goes away, high blood pressure goes away. What do those people then become? It's a word that we talk about, but we don't think about it when it comes to the hood. Insurable. So now if you're insurable, health insurance is one thing, but then also life insurance for a really decent price, right? So now instead of it costing you all this money to get life insurance for a little bitty plan that with the first bill that you get, you'll let it go, right? When if the car go out, you're not going to pay the life insurance. Now people are insurable. Wow. That's a way of passing on generational wealth. So now when Aunt Mamie passed away, God rest her soul, her daughters, her grandkids, they now have resources. I'm not going to say they become rich, right? Because everything ain't that. Now they have resources that Mamie has been able to teach them to use over her life a lot longer because she was healthy. So don't tell nobody that it ain't just about the cups.
Man, bro, I'm gonna tell you, man, like when I hear you talk, there's the concept of imagination still comes back, like imagining things bigger than what they are. But because of that support that you had then, but it seems like the team that you have in place, the support that you have now allows these imaginative things to come to fruition. And they're no longer just theories, they're actual scenarios that are coming into action. But then this whole thing of, the bigger play, like everything leads to something else. And it's all a part of this big puzzle that we're putting together. And I commend you for thinking about it on that level, because you're helping the brothers listening. Brothers, I hope you're paying attention to what Jason's talking about, man. He's talking about being a part of a bigger solution. It's not just getting the bag right now. The bag is good. That's cool. Right. But the bag is, it's just a piece of the puzzle, right? It's a tool. But what you're doing is you're helping to create solutions that will far outlast your longevity or your life. Is for generations to come. And it's all about making these simple changes, taking these things in your imagination, having the support, and then putting them into action, but then doing so with a bigger play in mind. Brother.
Hey, you like shirts? You see the shirt? Like, people always call me a serial entrepreneur. And I always laugh because I'm like, man, I didn't even know what that word meant. You know what I'm saying? I had never heard that. When I started my companies at 23, all I knew is I had 2 kids and they got to eat. So I didn't even know what entrepreneurship was. It's a great word, but this word right here is better for me. I'm a serial collaborator.
Ooh, I love it.
And I work with people. I work together with people to create things, because everything that we've talked about, I have done none of it, and I don't mean an inch of none of it on my own, and I'll never act like that. So collaborator, because collaboration, you bring your skills, I bring mine, we make something beautiful, like me and you did right now.
Absolutely.
I couldn't do this if you hadn't followed your dream, use your imagination, and said, hey, look, I can have a podcast and talk to these people based in purpose. Okay, if you hadn't done that, we couldn't be doing this.
It all works. Again, it all fits. When you're walking in your purpose, when you pursue your greatness, when you embrace that thing, but you embrace your greatness, pursue your interests, recognize faults and failures, then guard yourself against your triggers. When you finally unwrap your gift, dude, you're being a gift to society, dude, and you're being a gift to society, and you're being a gift to generations to come. Brother, I salute you for that, man.
Hey, man, I appreciate you, bro.
Man, I appreciate you, bro. And so as far as getting connected with Guidance Whiskey as well as Hydrate the Hood, how can, brothers from around the country, around the world, or wherever, how can they all connect with you on the brands?
Real simple. GuidanceWhiskey.com. You can go there. You can actually order it on there. Right now we have a discount code, FTK Rona, to save 10%.
Okay.
So, and if you want to send messages through there, info@guidance.world. It's not .com, it's .world. That's intentional.
Okay.
So it's info@guidance.world. Hydrate the Hood, same thing, hydratethehood.com.
Okay.
We're on all of the social platforms. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're on Instagram. Send us a message. We get a lot of them now, but I respond to almost all of them. I respond to and I mean, I take a day. Thursdays is responding day. So a lot of people don't know that either. So they send some stuff on Monday, and by Wednesday they get antsy. On Thursday is the day that I block out time to just try to respond to people, because I believe in the work that they're doing, and I get inspired by other people's dreams. That's another thing people don't know. Like, I sit around. It's like if you were back in the day when we used to stand around and rap, you know what I mean? And you hear the next dude go off, you got to come with it.
You got to come back. You like, man, I got to go. Yeah.
You get inspired, but that's inspiration. So hearing the people that I've been talking to, man, and the projects that they got coming out. There's a couple out of they're from New Orleans, but they're in Texas. They have a vodka that they source from France. It comes from France.
Wow.
Okay, Class A vodka is the name of it. And there's a guy in Atlanta who has a white whiskey. And so we bringing them. Hey, we're going to bring everybody. We about to help everybody. Everybody. I want to stand out and look. By 2021, I'm only drinking my friends' liquor. That's it.
Ooh, look, fellas, ladies listening to, hear that. By 2021, he ain't drinking nothing but his friends' liquor. And I want y'all to transcribe that to other industries and other segments. What if we get to a point in which, you know what, by a certain time, I'm only wearing my friends' brands? Or what if, let's take it even bigger. You know, when it gets to a certain year, I'm only driving my friends' cars. Or I'm only... Come on.
I thought about it the other day. I was like, man, I said, before I leave here, I'm gonna need to drive a car designed by a brother, man. I need that. And I need a black watchmaker, man. I listen to a lot of music, and I hear every Mueller, Richard Mille. I hear all these names, but where's the timepieces? If y'all got that, send me that.
Actually,
who's a black watchmaker?
I heard one. Is it Banneker? I used to listen to like on Sirius XM, and they were talking about. I believe it's Banneker watches. It's something. It's like a Banneker. I think it's a Banneker. You know, Benjamin Banneker with the watchmaker. I believe it's a company, but it's a brother-owned watchmaking company. I believe it's Banneker, but we'll look and see. And if I find it, I'll shoot you the link.
Because that's how I'm gonna be flossing.
That's what it is, man. Dude, I love that, man. I'm gonna tell you, that is a mission of mine as well. I want to have nothing but stuff from my friends. They create folks that I know, personal connection.
And take that pride in it. You know what I'm saying? Take that pride when somebody yell out Polo, Ralph Lauren, Hugh Blow. When you're saying all these names, have that same pride. Have that same pride when you don't. It's not just like, yeah, I'm supporting you. Hey, look at me, I'm supporting you. Have that same pride. You did? Like that's. I feel great every time I support minority brands. Like, great. I feel different. That gives me swag. You know. So, but I don't know how to help other people feel that same way, because we still kind of tied out into these other brands and these names and stuff like that, which are good, right? I'm never saying that it's bad or anything like that.
But,
I'm just saying,
bro, check this out. But you're doing it. It's like you don't know. You said you don't know how to make people feel. You can't make anybody else feel. What you can do is you can do. Right? You can do, and then they're like, bet, dog, so what is that you're wearing? Like, man, what is that you're drinking? Like, man, what is that you're driving? Like, whoa, where are you vacationing? What hotel are you staying at? Like, man, who booked this for you? Like, man, who? And then you start to throw like, oh yeah, that's my homeboy so-and-so. Oh yeah, that's my homeboy, whatever. Yo, that podcast, that's the bros. That's Mike, man. That's Black Fathers Now. Yo, that's so-and-so. I mean, when you start doing that, you're doing it. You don't have to make somebody feel a certain way. They're going to see the joy in your heart and how you throw that thing out there. Just like this. When bruh posted about your article in the group that we had, and I saw it, and he had so much joy. First thing, the headline to it was, "No more crown. We supporting the bruhs." And it was just that. Like that, to me, that in essence, well, it made me want to be like, well, dog, what's good? Let's go figure out what's good with the bruhs. And I check it out. I'm like, brother got a story. And just hearing you talk today, man, the sky is the limit. But I'm so honored that the sky's not going to be just the limit for you, because you bringing other people along with you, brother.
For sure, bro.
Keep up the good work, man. Keep up the good work.
Appreciate you, dog.
And so, and as far as social media is concerned, the best way for folks to follow Hydrate the Hood as well as Guidance Whiskey on social media.
Yep.
All right. I'll make sure to have all of that in the show notes. So fellas, the bros, the ladies listening to, everybody, make sure you all reach out to Jason Ridgel and follow hydratethehood.com, guidancewhiskey.com. You can all, and on with Guidance Whiskey, there's, what's the code for people to get 10% off?
FCK Rona.
Okay, FCK Rona. So therefore, you put in FCK Rona for your discount code for Guidance Whiskey online and hook it up, support him. Literally, like, that's what we got to do, right? Again, and then you can say, look, I heard brother's story on Black Fathers Now. I want to know more about him. So get in contact with him. Get in contact
please do,
with him.
because I want to know about y'all. Like I said, it's not a one-way street. I get excited about people's dreams. I get hype off of it. And just like my family, I'm not gonna do it for you, but I'll have that kick the can T-shirt on, support you the whole way, cheering you on. So I need that. And for one other thing is, guys are in cities where we are not, because a lot of brothers like, how do we get it here? Request it. Request it at your favorite liquor store. Request it at your bar. Show them your bottle if you got one, or show them a picture of it, because the more buzz that it gets, the more people hear about it, the more that they'll request it and get it done.
So look, if you go to your favorite liquor store and you don't see Guidance Whiskey, ask them for it. Tell them to order it. Show them pictures of it. Order it online so you can show them, hey, this is what I want to be able to buy locally in my store.
Exactly.
And make it happen. But also support Hydrate the Hood, because there's a bigger play to this thing. We want us to be healthy. We want us to think about it. But this thing connects to a bigger picture, which allows generations to thrive. So, fellas, y'all, if y'all didn't get something out of this, I don't know what's going to inspire and impact you. But, bruh, Jason Ridgel, man, I salute you, man. Keep up the good work, my brother.
Cheers, bro.
Cheers. Now, fellas, as always, make sure to follow Black Fathers Now on all social media platforms. Visit blackfathersnow.com. Subscribe via Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, iHeartRadio. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, subscribe, share, and make sure to follow Jason Ridgel. You can follow Hydrate the Hood and Guidance Whiskey on Instagram, Facebook. Visit the website, support them, share this stuff out there, because his brother's going to change the world with what he's doing. And so until next time, fellas, y'all be blessed, well, and wise. And I'll holler at you. Peace.